Well, no matter where you are in life or your career, chances are you probably know it can be really stressful to look for a new job.
We've all been there, and it doesn't matter whether you've been laid off or you just want to switch things up or get to that next professional level. Just searching for a new job, it can be tough financially and emotionally, but experts say it can take a pretty big toll on your community and your health. Elizabeth Pearson joins us now. She's a life coach and author of Career Confinement. Elizabeth, first off, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you coming to the studio today.
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah.
You know I love to be here with you guys.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you. Listen, we've all been in the job search before. We've all gotten new jobs. We've all perhaps not gotten jobs, right? How does that affect sort of your mental health?
Oh my gosh, I mean, how can it not, right? I think the first thing that a lot of people still feel is shame. There's a lot of shame around not having a job right now. It could be whether you were let go or whether you voluntarily left. There can be all of these questions about what are you going to do? How quickly are you going to do it? It can feel very isolating. So I think that you really need to watch out for some warning signs. If you do start to really pull away from family and friends, if you go into information overload, which can be, you know, going down a LinkedIn rabbit hole and then feeling really bad about yourself because it doesn't seem like there's any jobs out there that would be a fit.
Elizabeth, give us some techniques for coping, managing our stress, and avoiding that spiraling feeling where you really start going down the drain.
Well, I think the first thing is stop comparing yourself. I think it's very easy to compare yourself, maybe to even like somebody that you went to college with and see where they are, you know, at this age. It's not the same race. You have to really just give yourself some compassion as well and say, you know what, I am not unemployable. This is something I tell people all the time. You're not going to end up under a bridge. You are employable. Just keep a little bit of faith and have some perspective and know that anytime you're seeking to grow in your career, there will be ups and downs.
It's interesting that you mentioned social media and that comparative lens that we all have access to when we open Instagram or Facebook. But is there a way that social media could actually help you?
Absolutely. Like, you can still scroll, but let's make it productive. The one thing that I tell women, specifically women all the time, is make sure that you have a personal brand. LinkedIn is your webpage. And if you haven't paid attention to your LinkedIn in a while, then your webpage probably doesn't look so great. And first impressions matter. So when somebody's looking at you as a candidate in a really crowded pool, if you have an optimized LinkedIn, you've got a great headshot, you've got posts about industry events, maybe you even wrote an article for LinkedIn, it's going to help you stand out. Same with IG. I say have a public professional profile. So you can keep pictures of your kids, things like that, private, but I think you should have a curated feed because 70% of recruiters are looking specifically for social media. So lack of social media is actually a red flag for them.
I didn't know that. That's
I would kind of think that. I'd want to see someone, you know, in the world, in this online culture we live in.
I feel like it also depends on what is your profession. If you're an engineer, I don't know that you necessarily have to have social media, but you're right. Maybe you make a curated feed just for that purpose. Let's talk about building our networks. I know you mentioned LinkedIn, which is a great way to kind of follow other job groups and stay connected. But what are some other ways we can build real life networks too that can help us?
Well, I think you need to call in the favors. We probably all know somebody, right? And we're like kind of keeping it in our back pocket for when we really need it. Well, if you're out of work or you're wanting to make a change, now is the time. Call in the favors and say, hey, I see that you're connected to so-and-so, or you did a conference with so-and-so. Can you make a connection? So it's not really a cold lead and you're not really asking somebody that you don't know for a favor. So call in the favors. I also think it's really good to make sure that, you know, we're supporting each other, specifically women too. I think it can feel really competitive. There's a very real leadership and wage gap. And so it can feel like, well, I'm not going to let my resources go to them. But I think that we really need to just like share. Sharing is caring, right? Make the introductions. It's going to come back to you in a good way.
I love that you said that because I feel like there's this false narrative of finite resources. People who are like operating from this scarcity mindset. But not only do you have resources in each other, you also have time. This false notion that like time is running out if you haven't done it by your 20.
Right?
Girl, no,
definitely
there's so much time.
And success is not like a finite thing. It is not a zero-sum game. Right?
No, it isn't.
You can be successful. I can be successful. You can be successful.
And guess what? If we help each other, I think those are just the good vibes, right? That's the ripple effect that we want. It's going to come back to you.
All right, life coach Elizabeth Pearson. Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining us.
And you are watching NBC News Daily.